What's up, sports geeks? It's your host Josh here, back with another episode. Today, I'm joined by yet again my college basketball guru Nick. Nick, how you doing, man?
Doing great. We're getting into the middle of conference tournaments. We're getting the Power Five starting tonight, so it's going to be interesting.
Absolutely, it's going to be interesting. We had a little bit of Power Five yesterday with the beginning of the ACC, and we had some doozies of some games. Not really; they were pretty pathetic,
Just
actually.
great games. I mean, I tell you what, a bunch of low-tier ACC teams just battling to get a win, so they can just get beat up in the next round.
Yeah, it was not pretty, but we do have all of the, I believe, all of the Power Five conferences starting today, correct?
Yes, everyone starts tonight.
So we have a lot of games today. So this is being recorded on Wednesday around like noonish. So we're gonna get this edited and uploaded ASAP because there's games literally tonight.
Yeah,
that
game
we're gonna.
literally starting at noon with
Yeah.
Syracuse and Wake Forest.
Yeah. So we're getting this edited and uploaded as fast as we possibly can to get that out. But we'll talk ACC here first. I'll pull up the bracket here on my phone, but I don't think this is going to be a super interesting tournament. A lot of these teams, I really just don't think they can upset somebody.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's this tournament's definitely top heavy. I think 1 through 4 can win it, but mostly you see the top of the bracket with 1 and 4 being Miami and Duke. They're gonna meet up in the semis. I feel like whoever wins that game is gonna win it all.
That's how I would agree with that.
I mean, because on the bottom, if you think about it, you have the 2 and the 3, which are Virginia and Clemson. Clemson has to be hot on offense and play a little bit of defense to even think about getting to the championship game. In Virginia, they'll probably get there, but they're just such a boring team.
Virginia is one of the coldest teams in college basketball right now too. They've been very poor the last couple weeks, so I would not expect. And Duke's been super hot, and same with Miami. So we talk about peaking at the right time. Duke and Miami are peaking right now. Virginia's already peaked. So
Yeah.
I think that's something to monitor here. But
no, I definitely agree with that. I mean, Virginia right now, they have not even a clue on offense what they're doing. It's Reese Beekman and K.A. Clark. That's literally it. Those are the only two that ever handling the ball. And they're relying on their defense to get wins right now by beating teams 56-50.
Which they can do, but I don't know if they can do that 3 times in 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, when you have to play that hard a defense, that's like brutal on your body as opposed to, running like a zone or just running a lot less of like an intense defense.
Like Syracuse.
Yes. So like I just think that's going to be really tough on the boys from Virginia, and they're not that deep of a team.
No, they're definitely it's their starting 5, and then I want to say the one shooting guard off the bench, number 11, the freshman. Yeah. Other than that, they really don't have any depth. I mean, they can bring a big guy off the bench, but he struggled all year. So I mean, they don't really have much going on for him, and I personally don't think they'll win it. I don't know. I don't really like Virginia. People like them because of their defense, but I don't think they bring a lot to the table.
I think defense is awesome when you have offense that's like semi decent, and their offense isn't even semi decent. Like I don't think their offense could score 70 in a game.
Yeah, I don't think they can. I'm about to look up their numbers because I know
what they've been scoring here. Yeah, it's been pretty pathetic. I know that. But like, and you give them tournament style defense, like you play somebody that's playing defense like their season's on the line. I don't think Virginia's able to put up 70 piece on anybody.
I agree.
Unless you're playing really shoddy defense. But what's their last couple of games looking like as far as scoring wise?
So their last couple games, they're 2-2 in their last 4. They lost at Boston College where they only put up 48. They lost at Carolina where they only put up 63. Beat Clemson where they put up 64 and put up 75, but that was against a really bad Louisville team who has 4 wins on the year. So, I mean,
yeah,
I can't even count that. So right now, their points per game are 68, which is a little bit higher than usual, but it's still 300th in the country. And their points allowed is 60.5, which is more than it's been in the past 5-6 years.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. This Virginia team, like I said earlier, I feel like it's peaked at the wrong time. And Duke and Miami are playing really well right now. Isaiah Wong has played really well this season.
Player of the year.
Yeah, like he's been. They have been. They both teams have been really good, really dialing it up lately. So I think that's pretty much like you said, top heavy tournament. No pun intended. We'll flash the bracket on top of your screens here real quick. But I do think that it's going to be. Whoever comes out of that top side there is going to win it all.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I hate to keep bringing them up because, they're most likely dead unless they win the whole thing. But Carolina's got actually a really good draw. I mean, if you look at it today, they played Boston College at 7, who they should easily beat. They win that tomorrow. They'll get to play Virginia,
who's again one of the coldest.
One of the coldest teams. And if you speed them up at all, you'll be able to score in transition against them. And they've already beaten Virginia. They beat them by 10. And when they played them at Virginia, I think they only lost by like 5. Like it was a close game. They were in
the two matchups combined. North Carolina won.
Yeah,
like if you combine
them, they won. Like they should have won at Virginia. They blew that game at the end. I remember watching it. They were up with I think 4 with like 4.5 to go, and they let Virginia go on like a 7-0 run, and they end up losing the game by 5. So if they win that, and you look at it hypothetically, they're most likely going to play NC State or Clemson. I don't know if they would lose to Clemson. They probably would lose to NC State, but I don't think they would lose to Clemson.
Well, if North Carolina beats Virginia, they're in, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that would be the win that would put them in.
So that's really dangerous for Virginia because you're going to get a season-ending game. Like
you're getting someone's best shot.
Yes, like absolutely best shot. And then when you play a team that's as talented as North Carolina, even if they're not playing well, when you're that talented and your season's on the line, it is not something I would want to play.
You never know what you're going to get. So
like
I could see them going far as well.
Yeah, like in the quarterfinals of an ACC tournament, that is like the last team I would want to play.
Yeah.
And we could be seeing exactly what we saw last year. North Carolina, terrible throughout the season. They end up getting a poor seed.
Yep.
Next thing you know, they're playing Purdue in the second round. And in RJ Davis and Caleb Love just tear through Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer. Like we could be seeing exactly what we saw last year.
It could definitely be the same story that was written last year. And it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't.
Because that's all Carolina's looking for right now is to get that 1 win or 2 wins. That puts them on the right side of the bubble because that's all they need.
They play today, right? You said?
Yeah, they play today at 7.
Today at 7. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I could see if they come out and just look phenomenal, if I'm Virginia, I'm like shaking in my boots. Like Virginia's not playing well right now. They know that, and
I think the whole country knows that too.
Yeah,
but that's a big thing though for Carolina. If they come out and they beat Boston College by like 15 plus today, yeah. If I'm Virginia, I'm a bit nervous.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I might already be nervous right now if I'm Virginia, just because of the way I'm playing. But North Carolina wouldn't be a bad shout if they are able to win. I think if they're either gonna like lose tonight or they're going to beat Virginia.
Yeah, I don't think there's an in between. I agree with you on that. It's like
if they get to Virginia, I think they beat them.
Yeah, I say you're either gonna win. You're either gonna win tonight, and you're gonna go on and you're gonna beat Virginia, and you're gonna see yourself in the semis, or you're losing tonight. There's no in between. I don't see them winning tonight and getting to Virginia and losing against Virginia.
Yeah, I think like as of right now, I would take. They might even be favored over Virginia.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I bet that game. I guarantee the line of that game would be within 3 points.
Whatever, it's gonna be a 1 possession.
Whatever way you want to put it.
All right, so we can hang up the ACC here, though. We think it's going to be a Miami-Duke race with maybe a sprinkle of North Carolina in there.
Yeah, if you had to pick, so I guess we can do it like we've done it for the other ones. If you had to pick your sure winner and then your sleeper, who would your 2 teams be? I'm
going to go with the 2 blue bloods here. I'm going to go with Duke as my sure winner, and I'm going to go with North Carolina as my sleeper. North Carolina is kind of a bogus sleeper because they are like one of them. They like on paper probably the best team in this.
Tournament. They should be higher than a 7.
Like if you were to take this. Like the rosters and tell me,
they would,
and tell me to rank these teams right now. I would have North Carolina as my 1 seed.
Yeah, like North Carolina's roster is insane, but they just haven't been able to put that product out on the floor.
I think NC State could be another sleeper. If I were to veer away from North Carolina, because kind of what we talked about with the script here of if North Carolina wins this first game tonight, they're going to beat Virginia. We can agree on that.
Yeah,
or we would expect them to, and. Like you said earlier, you don't think they can beat NC State. I don't either.
I don't think they can.
If NC State, you're going to play a team tonight. I don't know which one.
They get to play Virginia Tech.
They get to play Tech.
Barely got by a really bad North Carolina or Notre Dame team where their head coach had basically 2 feet out the door.
So you have. I would expect NC State to run through Virginia Tech tonight, especially with Virginia Tech playing a close game yesterday.
Yeah.
I would expect NC State to run through them, and then NC State Clemson. So you could see NC State. I think Clemson's very, very, very shaky. They rely on scoring a ton of points, and you can't do that when you have teams playing defense like they do in March Madness and come March. It's hard to just outscore teams.
Yeah, no, you have to be able to do it both. You have to be able to do it both ways. You got to be able to score and play defense, and I think that's kind of been Clemson's MO this whole year. Is they haven't been able to do both. There'll be a game where they'll play great defense, but they can't score. Then there'll be a game where they score 90, but they end up losing because they can't play a stitch of defense. And I think that's the really scary part when you get to a team like NC State. Because, I mean, I don't know, a few weeks ago, NC State, they went and played at Duke. They were down 10 the majority of the game, and then the next thing you know, they make 2 threes and a layup, and they end up losing by 4.
Yeah.
Like, they can turn it on that quick because they will shoot the lights out of the ball, and they're a fast-tempo team. They're going to run you up and down the floor, and that's the way they score the majority of their points.
When NC State plays Clemson, that is going to be like I could see that being like an 85-78 game.
Yeah.
Like that could be the highest scoring game in this ACC tournament. But like kind of just to harp on this one more time here. So NC State could, if you can beat Clemson, we could see an NC State North UNC matchup in that semifinal, in which we both believe that NC State is the better of those two, has the favorable matchup there. And I mean NC State's there. Like you have the path to Miami or Duke is pretty comfortable for NC State and for UNC. But I would go, I'm not gonna take UNC. I'll take NC State as my sleeper team, and then I'll take Duke as my favorite.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, looking at the schedule for Clemson, they've beaten NC State twice, both by double digits, which is actually extremely surprising. But then, like literally, Clemson, they went to NC State, won by 25. But then the next game, they lost to Virginia by 8.
It's very difficult to beat a team 3 times in the season.
Yeah, it is extremely difficult, as we've seen in past years. So I think that's a revenge spot for NC State. So I agree with you on that one. I'm going to take NC State as my sleeper team. And you know what? I'm going to go with the number 1 overall seed in the ACC tournament. I'm going to take Miami as my sure winner.
We had a couple boring picks there, but
I think Miami got the job done. I mean, their guard play is absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of look at Duke and you're like, well, who are their guards? You got Jeremy Roach, you got Whitehead. But they really rely on can Filipowski score.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't score, then where are you getting your offense from?
Right.
You're getting it from maybe Isaiah Lively, who puts in 3 dunks, and then Roach is going to put up 15.
Right. And Roach is very inconsistent.
Yeah.
Very inconsistent.
So I think if Miami can get to that, if Miami can win their game, which I assume they will, it's going to be either Syracuse or Wake Forest, and they can get to that Duke game with some momentum, I think there's a good chance they could win it by 8-10.
Yeah. Miami's a really good shout. And they, let's not forget that what happened last March with Miami. I mean, last March hit, and they had a phenomenal run. Like
insane run. Nobody saw that coming.
Right. So, I mean, I do not underestimate what Isaiah Wong and this Miami team can do, because it's March time, and we saw what they did last year.
Anything can happen in March.
Absolutely. All right, we will go ahead and move on to let's go Pac-12.
Pac-12.
Pac-12 is going to be brief talk here.
Yeah. This one's pretty boring. It's pretty obvious. I mean, you got 2 teams.
Yep. We have Arizona and UCLA that are going to be in the final more than likely, right?
Yeah, I mean, more than likely. I did see though Mick Cronin did.
You have the bracket there.
Mick Cronin did say that they are going to be without Jalen Clark this week, as he suffered a lower leg injury against Arizona. Most people thought it might have been a torn Achilles or an ACL, but they haven't come out and said that yet. So I guess that's a little bright spot in the whole situation. So if they can get him back come NCAA tournament time, I think they make a very deep run and possibly can win it all. But without him, I don't know. That's the only thing that's going to be interesting this week when they play in the Pac-12 tournament.
Yep, I agree. I think it's going to be an Arizona USC battle. I could see USC giving them something, because Boogie Ellis has been great. It has potential to blow up in a game. I mean,
he hit 35 when they played him a week and a half ago.
Right. And Drew Peterson is one of the maybe the most inconsistent player in the country, but with inconsistency comes an occasional lights out game. And so we could see him do that against Arizona. Arizona does give up a lot of points as well. They give up 90 to the Bearcats.
I mean, they don't play any defense. They're the prototypical AAU/NBA basketball team. They're just going to outscore you, and they can do it too, because they're good enough to do it. But I don't know. With USC, I agree. You brought up Boogie Ellis. Obviously, he's the best player. He needs to stay another year, because that team will be phenomenal next year. But no, Drew Peterson, I personally hate him.
He's not fun to watch.
Like, he's horrible to watch. Like, he should be a good shooter, but he passes up so many wide open shots. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you're a shooting guard, just shoot. Like, if you miss, it's okay. Like, just you can't be afraid to take a shot.
He has like Grady Dick type potential.
Yeah, and he just doesn't do it. Like, he misses way too many open shots. And then once he misses a few, he's like, all right, I don't want to shoot anymore. So if I have a wide open shot, I'm not going to take it. I'm going to dribble in and then pass back out. It's just, I don't know. It's very confusing, this USC team, because one game they'll beat UCLA or be in it with an Arizona, but then they'll play an Oregon or a Utah and they'll get blown out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're so up and down. You never know what USC team you're actually going to get.
Right. It's dangerous to like scout a team like that, because you don't know. Like, look, we're going to either come into this game and we're going to be up 15-4, or we could be down like 16-5.
Yeah, you just never know. That's how the whole Pac-12 has been this whole year.
Right, because they're 4 or 5 from 3 in 3 minutes. Like, yeah, the USC team is dangerous because of how inconsistent they are. But I think this is a 2.5 team race. I'll say that. It's a Arizona, UCLA, and half of USC's games of a race.
I would even possibly toss in Arizona State.
Okay.
Arizona State plays Oregon State in the first round, and if they win that, they'll get USC.
Okay.
Tomorrow, and I honestly think Arizona State could beat USC. I think they could.
Yeah, they definitely could.
Arizona State's been that team in the Pac-12 where it's like, you know what, they finished kind of top half of the Pac-12, but they could have been a top 3, top 4 team in this league.
Yeah.
Like, you see, they've been in games with UCLA. They beat Arizona on a buzzer beater. They've been in games with Oregon. They've been in games with USC. Like, that team can play.
Yeah.
It just, once again, it's another Pac-12 team where they're so up and down. You don't know which one you're going to get.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to take my favorite here as UCLA. I think they're just even. I think they can battle through. I think UCLA is out on top in this.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, obviously, I'm going to go with UCLA. You know, I love Mick Cronin, Cincy guy. Like, they're just the most complete team.
Yeah.
And it showed this past week against Arizona. They played defense, and they were down most of the game against Arizona, but they battled back and they ended up winning it, and they won it easy. They won it by like 8-9 points. So, yeah, I think UCLA is going to be my tournament champion. And if I had to pick a dark horse, I would have to go with Arizona State or USC. Whoever wins that game, I think, because they could give Arizona a game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Arizona's lack of defense is extremely it's scary if you're going to pick them to win this tournament, because like when you play that little defense, you're asking for a team to just shoot well.
Yep.
And as soon as a team starts shooting well, as soon as a team's in the game that they shouldn't be in the game, there's that. It's the UMBC against Virginia thing, right?
Yep.
We're in the game. We shouldn't be in the game. We have nothing to lose.
Exactly.
We're shooting.
You see the shots fall, and then there you go. Right. That's all you need to see.
Everybody's feeling it. Everybody's locked in because they're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna beat. Like, there's just the upset mentality, the underdog mentality. That's gonna be scary for Arizona, because they're just gifting teams that play them that mentality.
I also think that Arizona's side of the bracket's actually a lot more difficult. Like, if you look at it, because there are 4 teams in the first round that would go on to play them in USC are Utah, Stanford, Arizona State, and Oregon State. But then you look at the top half, which would go on to play UCLA and Oregon. It's Washington, Colorado, Washington State, and California. I feel like the bottom half's a lot more difficult than the top half is.
The bottom half might, like, if you were to match them up, bottom half might win all 4 matchups.
Yeah, like, seriously, I mean, you never know. Because it's always like, it's literally, that's how the Pac-12's been all year. Like, you really just never know what team you're going to get. A Utah team that could go on and battle UCLA, take them down to the wire at home, or a Stanford team that straight up, honestly, almost, I think, beat Arizona State and gave a game to Oregon and USC.
And beat USC earlier in the
year.
I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
This bracket, I think, out of all the brackets that are all the conference tournaments that are going to happen this week, this is going to be I think this might be the craziest one at the beginning. But you're still going to get to your end where it's going to be a UCLA or an Arizona hoisting that trophy.
I think this one's just there's just a sense of like, we have absolutely no clue. Like,
yeah, no, I will be the first one to say it. I really don't know, except for saying that UCLA or Arizona could win it.
Yeah. Like, I feel UCLA will be in the final. I can confidently say that. Arizona will be in the semifinal. I can really confidently say that. Beyond that, I can't say anything. Like, I feel pretty good that Arizona's going to be in the final.
Yeah.
But again, we said, like, USC, who knows what you're going to get out of them? Who knows what you're going to get out of Arizona State? Like, I don't know. I think this one's kind of kind of just a coin flip in every single game because
no.
every team is so inconsistent other than UCLA.
I agree. You literally could take a coin flip all these games, and you might actually get the whole bracket perfect.
Right, like that might be your best shot.
Yeah.
All right, so we will move on from the Pac-12. We talked about ACC, we went Pac-12. Let's go SEC now. I know we do have Big Ten, which is going to be a long talk there.
Yeah, that's going to be a big bracket because there's a lot of teams that need wins in that tournament. But
yep, and there's a lot of teams that can win in that tournament.
I'm excited for the SEC though. I feel like you never want to see injuries happen for it to completely shake up a whole bracket. But from first glance, you obviously you got Bama, you got A&M, you got Kentucky, and then you got slipping into the 4 seed, you got Missouri, because Tennessee, they battled injuries, so they kind of started going downhill at the end. But
I tell you what,
my first pick, I think I already loved that I know we're gonna see in the final is Kentucky.
I feel this is probably the bracket, outside of Arizona, UCLA, which is a pretty almost set final, right? I feel really, really good about an Alabama-Kentucky final. Alabama's road here is extremely easy.
Yeah, I mean,
you have a 4 seed that slipped in.
Yeah, I say seriously. Yeah.
Like it should not be a 4 seed.
No, not.
And then your
bit.
5 seed is a Tennessee without Zakai Ziegler.
Without Zakai Ziegler.
So, and that's the reason that Missouri was able to slip in there. So, like, you are not playing really anybody. You have to play Florida, who maybe could upset somebody, right?
Yeah.
Like, but outside of that, they should almost like coast to this final.
Yeah, obviously Bama's been shaky the past 4. Like, they've gotten away with some wins, but I mean, you look at the road and it's like, as long as you play your basketball and, you get Brandon Miller to go off from anywhere for 16 to 20, I think you're fine. As long as you play smart, you don't rely on the 3 ball too much, and you still play the defense that you're playing, because you are the number 1 defensive team in the SEC. I think you'll be fine, and you'll be seeing yourself playing on 1 o'clock on Sunday for the chance to be the SEC champion.
I agree. Kentucky. Do you think Kentucky gets it done, or do you think that A&M can get through? Because A&M's a 2 seed, UK's the 3 seed. UK's going to have maybe a little bit easier way. Would you rather play Vanderbilt or Auburn here?
So Kentucky, I think they do have the easier road. I really do. It kind of benefited them, I guess, that they had they lost to Vanderbilt, because now they're most likely to play Vanderbilt on a neutral floor, but
in a revenge game.
Yeah, because they came into their place and beat them. But I don't see how Kentucky doesn't at least get to the game on Saturday for the semis. I don't see how they don't get there.
Yeah.
I mean, look, so Vanderbilt's awaiting the game tonight, which is going to be LSU versus Georgia. Those are 2 awful teams, just awful, awful teams. They'll win that, so Vandy will play Kentucky. Kentucky is not going to lose to Vanderbilt twice in a year. I don't think anyone's ever said that in the history of their lives, and I don't think that's going to start Friday.
Calipari's probably never done that in his career.
Yeah, and you know what? Then they're most likely going to play Auburn or A&M, because I don't know, that 7-10 matchup's interesting.
Yeah,
you get a 7-10 versus Auburn and Arkansas, which are 2, I would say, tournament teams, or close to being tournament teams.
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like Arkansas, they trended early and they went down because Nick Smith got hurt. They got him back. They started trending up again. And then we just saw them lose to Kentucky by 10 at home in a game they probably should have won. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're trending now, so I think Auburn is going to be my pick to get to A&M.
I know earlier we talked about UNC and how dangerous it is because they're playing with their season on the line. I think that's what A&M is going to get out of either Auburn or Arkansas, especially with how many 1 seeds we've seen go down in these mid-majors, right? So you're going to have a lot of these mid-majors maybe have 2 teams, or 1 team in and 1 team on the border. The amount of bubble teams are just increasing. If you're a team like, whoever wins that, Auburn or whoever loses that isn't in.
Yeah, no, I agree. Both of those teams need a win. And I honestly think Auburn has to win it for them to stay in. If Arkansas loses, I think there's still a chance they stay in, but they'll most likely be playing in Dayton in the first 4.
Yeah. The problem with Auburn is if they lose, what's Arkansas do? Because if Arkansas gets in, does that mean Auburn doesn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we could be looking at one of those 2 teams, or then what happens if Vanderbilt beats UK? Right? And then what happens if,
because Vandy's sitting at they're sitting at what 18-13 right now. Like they're not that far off the bubble.
No, I mean if you beat UK, you're in. I think.
Yeah, no, I mean that was a great win. You went into Rupp and beat them at their place.
If you beat them again, you're in. Like you just showed you can beat a projected what?
They're going to be projected, I think 6 or 7.
Okay, so you just beat them twice in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, I don't see how you wouldn't be in at that point.
Yes,
I don't even know if they're on the bubble right now, which is honestly kind of crazy.
Auburn or Vandy?
Vanderbilt. I don't think they are. They're not, which is actually surprising. I'm going to look at their resume.
That's going to be dangerous for UK as well because Vanderbilt has to win.
Yeah, no, you're going to have a team that's got nothing to lose, really, at this point. They're on what? They're on a 3-game win streak right now with a 16-point win against Florida, a 2-point win at Kentucky, and a 5-point win against a Mississippi State team that's floating around the bubble right now and probably one of the better defensive teams in the country.
Yeah.
So Vanderbilt's playing really good basketball right now, and it's kind of crazy to say because, you don't really see that out of them. But Jerry Stackhouse has done a great job of turning this program around.
Yeah, ex-Piston there.
So he's probably one of the few coaches where it actually transitions from NBA coming back and being a college coach.
You rarely see that, of an NBA player to college coach. Juwan Howard, right?
Yeah.
Who I think is not that great.
I don't know why they got rid of Beeline.
Yeah.
I mean, they showed the numbers between them in the last 2 years or something. Beeline was leaps and bounds better than what Juwan Howard's been. And
Juwan Howard's just a punk, dude. Like last year, punted.
Slapping
Yeah.
What was his name?
I don't know.
Guard in the face.
Coach, yeah.
Coach Greg Gard.
Yeah.
So looking at Vandy's games this year, their losses are Memphis, which isn't a bad one. That was a neutral site game. Or no, that was at their place. Lost to Southern Miss. That's not great.
No.
But Southern Miss, I think, was the number 1 seed in their conference, but lost. Lost to Grambling. That's horrible.
That's like a loss that when you look at a bad loss, that's about as bad as you can.
I mean, Grambling's net is probably in the 300s.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to NC State, not bad. Lost at 20 Missouri at the time.
Okay.
And lost at 5 Tennessee at the time. Lost versus Bama, who was 4 at the time, and then rattled off 3 losses in a row, which were Kentucky, at A&M, and at Bama.
Okay, well, you would expect them to lose all 3 of those.
But then they have another bad loss in LSU.
Ooh.
So they have 2 bad losses.
LSU and Grambling, right?
Yeah, they have 2 bad losses in that, and Southern Miss. So they have 3 really bad losses.
That's tough. I don't know. It's going to be. We're going to see Kentucky and A&M both play teams that have to beat them to get in, probably. Yeah. So that's going to be dangerous for both those teams. But go ahead and go with we'll do what we've been doing. Who's your just regular pick to win it all, and then who's your sleeper pick to win it all?
All right. So for my regular pick, I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Reese. It's his birthday today. Give him a little happy birthday shout out. I'm going to take his Kentucky Wildcats to win it all.
Okay.
As my regular team. And then for my sleeper team, I'm going to pick the Auburn Tigers.
Okay.
Same side, but I think the winner is most likely going to come from that bottom half.
Okay. So I'm going to take my winner as Alabama from the top. So I will, and again, we'll flash this bracket on top of your screens as well here. But I'm going to take Bama from the top half. They've been struggling lately, but they're stupid talented. And when you have a team that's that talented and is able to knock down that many threes, and they have a very easy road to the final, I think Bama's going to be in the final either way. I do think it's going to be a Bama Kentucky. But for my sleeper pick, I'm going to go with Vandy here. They're heating up at the right time. And I know we said that, we don't think they can beat Kentucky, and I don't think they can beat Kentucky. I think Kentucky wins this game. But if I'm looking at the value of sleeper picks here, I think Vandy's got the best value there because they're heating up at the right time, and they have a matchup that nobody really expects them to win, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And it kind of helps, too. I just now noticed that this tournament's held in Nashville, Tennessee. They're playing in Vandy's backyard.
Yeah. And
this is a year where Vandy's actually had a good, productive year, and they have fans this year. They're actually going to care and want to go to the game. So in a way, it could almost be like a home game. I mean, obviously, we already know Big Blue Nation. They travel.
Yeah, they do.
They travel. So I mean, that'll be a house divided.
Mm-hmm.
That'll probably be the most ruckus game if Vandy does win their first round game or their second round game on Thursday.
That'd be the craziest like quarterfinal atmosphere of a.
Yeah, I mean, insane because
Like,
both teams are within driving distance, and they'll go. They
Yeah.
will be there.
Yeah, I don't know what time that game would be, but if that's like a noon game on a Friday afternoon, like that would be like the most hectic noon game on a Friday afternoon
I mean,
ever.
it would be insane, and I would love to see it too because I think that would be probably the best game out of this whole tournament besides the final.
Yes, I would agree with that.
But when you look at it, just kind of like how last time with the Pac-12, the bottom half of this bracket is so much more loaded than the top.
Yeah, really bad in this one. Like
really, really bad.
Well, the problem is on the top you have the 4 seed Mizzou, who, like we said earlier, escaped into there, snuck in there, and then you have the 5 seed Tennessee, who realistically, if you were to rank them without Zakai Ziegler,
I'd put them.
They're like a 7 or an 8.
Yeah, I'd put them. I honestly would put them in Florida spot. Oh, so they'd be playing Mississippi State for
as the 8 seed.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, it's like there's nothing you can do about it because there's not a committee who's making this, putting these seeds. It's where you finish. It's where you finish, obviously, in the regular season conference. But it's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is. So we will go ahead and move on now. Any closing comments here about the SEC before we get into the big one here or no?
For me, really, it's just looking at this 6 o'clock game on Thursday with Arkansas and Auburn. Who comes out of that game and how did they play?
Yeah.
And then basically, can A&M just suffocate that team, whoever wins on defense, to get to that semifinal game against most likely Kentucky?
I will say Julius Marble can match up decent against Sheboy.
Yeah, no, I mean, those are big bodies banging down low.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a great game down low. Basically, who's gonna be the tougher big man?
Yeah, I agree. So let's go into, speaking of big men, let's move into the Big Ten. This one's got a lot to talk about.
So much to talk about.
We will break down day by day here. Let's just start with today. We have Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, Nebraska. The 4 worst teams here. I don't think there's actually a lot to talk about in this. Ohio State, Wisconsin, the winner plays Iowa. Iowa's not playing that well right now. Like, when Iowa's not on their home court, they're not that good.
No,
unless they play IU the game after they upset Michigan State.
Yeah, I still couldn't believe that. That was insane. You go into Indiana and you just beat them to a pulp.
Yeah,
absolutely absurd.
But maybe we could see Ohio State beat Iowa. We could see Wisconsin pull up an upset. I don't think so, though.
If I had to pick,
I'm hoping.
If I had to pick a team out of Ohio State or Wisconsin to win today and then go on to beat Iowa on Thursday, I think it'd be Wisconsin.
Yeah,
I think Wisconsin's a more complete team. They've just struggled this year of stringing together wins and putting together shots.
Yeah.
They've struggled to be consistently shooting from deep, which is surprising because a Wisconsin team is usually lights out from deep. So I think they'll go on to beat Ohio State because Ohio State, they're young. Sensabaugh is great. Obviously they had Zed Key, the injury. He's not playing. I don't know. I don't see a lot out of this Ohio State team.
This Ohio State team can't score. Is a problem. I remember I went to that game against Michigan State and they had 14 points at halftime. And they had
a football score. Wasn't it like 27-14 at half or something like that?
Yeah, it was. And so I'm watching the game. It was like pathetic. The offense that was ran. The first, I don't know, maybe
because their offensive plays are horrible, aren't they? Like they're not even close to being like actual offensive plays.
It's not even like
bad.
It's not even like it's set up to get a good shot. It's just like it's set up to like not even create a shot. The shot that you might create is a bad shot. Like perimeter to perimeter to perimeter, shoot the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no driving. Yeah. There's no post entry. There's no like ball screen. And like I kid you not, at 6-7 minutes in the game, they were like 1 of 12 from the floor and 0 for 10 from 3. Like, why are you shooting 10 of your first 12 shots from 3 when you haven't hit one yet?
Exactly.
Like, if you're 0 for 9 from 3 and 1 for 11 from the floor, why is your next shot going to be a 3?
Exactly. And, that's kind of been the thing with them all year. Mm-hmm. If you really look at it, they were dominant early. Obviously, you can look back at Maui. They beat the living crap out of the Bearcats by like 30. But I think is exactly what you were saying. They made They were making their open shots. They were making their threes in that game. So I guess if they can go on a run and make the threes, maybe go 6 of 11 or 5 of 11 from 3 instead of going 1 of 11 or 1 of 12, they might actually be able to be a semi-competitive team.
See, the problem is they don't have the ability to create open shots. So, like, you can hit some contested threes for X amount of time, right? If I give you 5 contested threes, you could hit 3.
Yeah, there's a chance.
Possible.
There's a chance you make some.
But if I gave you 20, you're not going to hit 12.
Yeah, no.
Like if you can't maintain that across like 20, 25 threes. And that's what this team does is they've so fallen in love with the 3-point line, and they're not good shooters.
They're just not good shooters at all.
So that's just a bad recipe right there. And Chris Holtman could really be looking at his job being gone.
Yeah, no, I agree. He better hope that class coming in next year is very, very good and that he can keep Sensabaugh. But I don't think he can keep Sensabaugh. I think he's gone.
I think Sensabaugh's shot selection is pissed.
Which is going to be a problem for him because he really needed to keep Sensabaugh to keep that core together, have a competitive team.
He just needed somebody that could start next year that was an elite scorer.
Well, you know what I don't like with Ohio State and Chris Holtman? It's not really more Ohio State. It's more Chris Holtman. It's the way he coaches and the way he comes upon bringing in recruits. He's a guy who he's only going to bring in freshmen. He's only going to bring in his recruits. He's not bringing in transfers, and that's a problem.
No, look at how
you need to bring in transfers in college basketball,
especially nowadays.
Like you have to. I don't want to tie it into like a UC or whatever, but with football, former coach Luke Fickell, he would not bring in transfers. He said he didn't believe in it. Well, you got these guys who were playing at these Power Fives, like how he got Jerome Ford from Bama. He wasn't going to bring him in. Jerome Ford wanted to come here.
Yeah.
That's a former 4-star, 5-star player who wants to come play for you, but you're turning them away because you don't believe in that. Yeah. And I think that's a problem because Ohio State, anybody would want to go play at Ohio State. That's a Big Ten school. With Ohio State, you got the backing of LeBron.
Yeah.
But no, you don't want to bring those guys in. I think that's a huge, huge problem.
Yeah. Well, we could. Bronny James, just a reminder, he has not committed yet.
No, and they're in his top 3.
Yeah. So
he's got a wicked top 3.
Yeah, he does.
Oregon, USC, and Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's just nuts.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Oregon just because of their deal with Nike.
I could definitely see that.
There could be some politics in there, just some background stuff that doesn't have to do with basketball.
It's like you go to Oregon, we'll first year in the NBA, we'll get you your own shoe.
Yeah, something
like
exactly like that. Like that could be word for word what has been said.
No, it would not surprise me if that's actually the case.
But okay, so off on a tangent on probably one of the least interesting teams in this conference tournament in Ohio State.
Yeah.
If Ohio State wins one game, I don't think they win 2. You can't, like I said earlier, for making contested threes, which is all they can shoot because they don't really create open threes. You can only make contested threes for so long.
Yeah. No, if they go on to win, I think Iowa State runs them out of the gym.
Iowa?
Or Iowa, yeah. I think Iowa runs them out of the gym.
I agree. I would love it if Wisconsin could beat Iowa though as well. Wisconsin could beat Ohio State, beat Iowa, and then Michigan State can get. I
think Wisconsin has the best chance too.
I agree.
To do it.
So let's
that second game. I guess we can talk about it.
Minnesota, Nebraska.
Nebraska's going to win.
Nebraska's going to win, and Nebraska might compete with Maryland. Neither team will compete with IU.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You look at it, Nebraska, they've been playing good balls as of late. And when I say good ball, I don't mean they've won every game as of late.
They compete.
They're competing, and they're losing and winning close games. And it's all because of the shooting guard, the lefty, Tamanaga. That man has gone off, and I think he's had 20-plus points in his past 6 games.
Hoiberg has played very well as well. I want to get this right. Fred is the coach.
Yes.
Jack is the one that played at Michigan State.
Yes.
And then what's the one?
I forget the one who's playing
Nebraska right now. I had it the other day, too, because I had the entire family tree. By the way, Wake Forest Syracuse just tipped off. And the Bonnies are down by 1 against Davidson.
Come on, Bonnies. Figure it out, Bonnies.
Get some live updates here.
I miss when the Bonnies used to go to the tournament every year. Yeah. Every other year.
Yeah.
That was electric. Those were the good old days.
Okay, I'll give you one guess here. One final guess for his first name. I'll also give you a hint. It starts with an S.
Sam?
Yeah. So Sam, Jack, and Fred. Sam Hoiberg's been playing really well too. He plays exactly like how you would expect a coach's son to play. Like any opportunity for a charge, he's the one.
Oh,
there.
he's going to take it.
And somebody's got to make an extra pass. He's the one there. The smallest guy on the court getting an offensive rebound. Yeah, that's going to be him. Like, he's about as like gritty as a player as you can imagine, but he's been playing really well.
And that's the huge thing, when you look at it. He's undersized, obviously, but he's playing for his dad. So he knows he can play loose, he can play free.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't like playing for their dad or whatever, but I think he's taking it to his advantage because you know what? His dad's gonna yell at him, but it's not like he has to worry about a coach bench him because it's his dad. His dad's not gonna bench him. If he's playing hard, he's doing everything he can. He's gonna keep seeing his minutes, and he's doing a very good job of it right now.
Yeah. So we'll say Nebraska plays Maryland. So looking at these second round or first and a half round.
You want to start from the top or the bottom?
We'll go ahead from the top here. So Rutgers, Michigan, winner plays Purdue.
This is going to be a really, really good game.
This is Cliff Awuriye.
Both teams need to win.
Awuriye, against Dickinson, and it's going to be a battle. Awuriye is one of the best defensive players in the Big Ten, and Dickinson is one of the best offensive bigs in the Big Ten. So that's going to be a really good matchup between those two. Obviously, then you have the McConnell against Jet Howard. McConnell won co-defensive player of the year.
McConnell needs to lock him down if they have any chance of winning, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. McConnell's played really well, though. Again, co-defensive player of the year in the Big Ten with Chase Aldige, who we will get into here in a second in Northwestern, who is the 2 seed here. Who do you have coming out on top in this Rutgers-Michigan game?
I have a little bit of a bias towards Rutgers. Kind of like Rutgers. But they've just been trending downhill so hard.
And Michigan's been playing really well.
And Michigan's been playing really, really good basketball. Obviously they didn't beat Indiana, but they were there the whole game. I'm gonna have to go with Michigan.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna
have to go with Michigan.
I'm gonna ride with you here on Michigan as well. So
I think it's gonna be a slow game, slow pace, but I think Michigan comes out on top in like a 67 to 61 or 62 game. It's gonna be something like that.
So then we have Iowa against either Ohio State or Wisconsin. I'm going to choose Iowa here. I think Iowa probably runs through them. Yeah. But Iowa could shoot poorly and get upset, but I don't think they do.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get with Iowa. They could make 12 threes, or they could end up making 2, and McCaffrey could get a technical or get 2 and get kicked out. You really never know what you're going to get.
You could stare down another ref, and then it could be lights out.
Yeah, you never really know what you're going to get. It's Iowa team. They're really confusing. Obviously they go 2 weeks ago. They go into Indiana, and they beat the ever-living Christ out of them by like 30 at their place. But I don't know. I think they'll win this game. Obviously, most likely going to be against Wisconsin, but we'll see tonight whoever wins. I think they win that, and then they'll go on and play Michigan State.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and go to the I think Iowa wins. Penn State, Illinois. Here we have Jalen Pickett, who is spectacular.
So good. So good.
Against Terrence Shannon, Matthew Mayer, Dane Danger.
You name this whole Illinois team, and you think that they should be a top 10 team in the nation, and then
off of names.
And then you just look, and they're not. It's just crazy.
I will say Dane Danger is one of the best names in college basketball.
Yeah, I don't know where they came up with that.
Danger.
I don't know where they came up with deciding to make his first name Dane when his last name's Danger.
Yeah.
I wonder where they got that from.
It's like the old artist Philip Phillips. Do the one in American Idol.
Like, what should we name him? Well, last name's Phillips. Just name him Philip.
Yeah. I'll forget anything else. But last name of Danger, bro, that's sick.
It is very cool.
Like, that is one of the
cool
most badass names you can imagine. But I think Illinois wins this game. I don't think Penn State has enough outside of Pickett to really be able to survive.
Yeah. Because I don't know. This one's an interesting one for me too, because it's kind of the same thing we've had for a lot of these games we've talked about for today. Teams trending up and a team's trending down.
Yeah.
Is Illinois going to be able to win a ball game with their back against the wall? Because you know what, they've been struggling as of late. They've not been playing consistent basketball.
Right, but their most recent half of basketball was spectacular.
Yeah,
they beat the 1 seed in the Big Ten by 20 in that half.
Yeah,
or 18. Or something.
They were getting blown out by Purdue, but they played a fantastic second half. So I don't know if Brad Underwood's the type of coach that will dawn on something like that, or shed light on that, but.
I think
if I was him, I would because
he's a prig.
He really is. Earlier this year, we talked about earlier this year when we did our Big Ten episode, but he basically told his team they suck and they have no leaders.
He looks like He looks like if you ever like saw him at a bar, you'd be like, "Hey man, what's going on?" And he'd just look at you and be like,
Yeah, he look
like,
at you,
or like,
wouldn't
oh,
say anything, or he'd tell you to fuck off.
yeah,
Something
literally,
like that.
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I could see Pickett going off for like 30 in this game and they get the win. So you know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the upset. I'm going to take Penn State.
Okay.
I think Penn State has some lightning in a bottle right now, and I think they can do it.
I'm looking at this first round here, and if there is going to be an upset, it's going to be Penn State.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I think Penn State could get the upset here, and I think it'd be a really, really good game.
Absolutely. Maryland beats Nebraska, I think.
Yeah, I think they do it pretty easily too.
I would agree. So then moving on here. So we have Purdue playing. Both of us picked Michigan, correct?
Yep.
So we have Purdue against Michigan. And this is going to be a great matchup here because
this is going to be such a good game.
Hunter Dickinson has the ability to piss Zach Edey off. Hunter Dickinson.
Oh yeah, he is literally the dude of college basketball that everyone hates. He gets under your skin, and I love it. He is the evil villain of it. I just love every second of it.
I don't.
You don't? Well, I mean that's a little different for you though, because you're a Michigan State fan, so
yeah,
you have to deal with him twice a year, and there's no love lost in that game at all.
No, never.
But if you look at it though, that game's gonna be played at 11 a.m. Central, 12 Eastern.
So it's gonna be playing at noon on
Friday.
On noon on Friday, and Michigan State is the game after that. That's gonna be a hell of a start to the day, right there.
Yeah.
And Purdue, Michigan, and Michigan State, Iowa. And it's not going to get any worse as you then would have Northwestern, Penn State, or Northwestern, Illinois, and then IU, Maryland. Friday's just going to be awesome.
But Friday through Sunday this is when you get just all the great basketball.
Yeah.
You just get loaded with great basketball all day.
So do you think Michigan can pull off the upset on Purdue or no?
I do. I really do. I think Michigan can get the job done here. I mean, you look at it, we always say it, guard play. They have so much better guard play.
Kobe Buffkin's been playing.
Buffkin's been playing with his hair on fire. You're going to get your usual out of Jet Howard. You're going to get your 15 or so. And then you obviously have Dickinson, who's gonna battle all day long with Edey down in the post, and I guarantee he'll still put up 18 points. Yeah. That's just how he plays. And then you know what? I think the deciding factor really is going to be their other guard, Daniels. I believe it's his last name. Doug McDaniels. Doug McDaniels. Yes. If he plays well, and then you also can get Joey Baker to come off the bench and maybe sprinkle in 2 threes, 3 threes. I don't see how you lose.
Doug with no O in that, by the way. D-U-G.
Oh yeah, it's D-U-G. That's right. Doug McDaniels. I mean, you look at this Michigan roster. It's like the same thing that we were saying about North Carolina. Like they are toe for toe one of the best rosters in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. They just haven't been able to put together for some reason. I really don't understand how.
And this is a team that's playing for their life.
They are. We've
been talking about all day, but
they got to win tomorrow, and they have to win that game on Friday.
They have to beat Purdue. Have to.
And I think they'll do it. I really, really do.
If they do we see a Michigan State-Michigan matchup in the semifinals, or do you think Iowa comes out on top?
No, I see Michigan State beating Iowa.
So I'm quite biased. For those of you who don't know, I'm a diehard Michigan State fan.
I have no bias in that take at all. None.
Do you think it's comfortable?
I say the game, Michigan State will be up by 10 most of the game. It'll probably end up being like a 5 to 7 point win, I think.
If Michigan State's up by 10 with a minute left, I'm turning the TV off.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't watch it. I can't miss it again.
It can't happen again. But I don't know. It's just, you look at Purdue's you just look at Purdue. I mean, Zach Edey.
Right.
And Newman last game.
Right. But Newman's not going to give you.
He's not going to give you 20 again. He has Jack Howard guarding him this time. Where are you looking to get scoring out of besides Edey or him?
Yeah.
Braden or Connor, right? Is that or
Braden Smith?
Braden Smith.
Yeah.
And Lawyer, like they're not going to give you what you need.
Yeah.
They're young guys, they're inexperienced. They've never played in an atmosphere or a game of this magnitude. So I don't think they can do it. They're just way too young. And I think that's when it comes to the time that we talk about the NCAA tournament. Come back to this video because I'm going to have the same exact take about Purdue.
Yeah. I can promise you that I'm going to have the same take, and I'm going to have the same take on Michigan State as I do now. That A.J. Hoggard and Tyson Walker are two very experienced guards, and they have played extremely well as of late.
Yeah. And
when you have two experienced guards, again, in this time when you play a team like Iowa, who really doesn't have great guard play, right?
No, not really at all. It's just McCaffrey's kids.
Yes.
Literally, that's it.
And then you go play a team like Michigan or Purdue, who although Purdue's guards are really young, and we think Michigan can come out on top in that game. Michigan guards are young too. So like Tyson Walker and AJ Hoggard are by far the more experienced guards in that matchup. I'm not gonna lie. As a Michigan State fan, I love this draw. To be in a game where we play Iowa in a revenge spot, which every single person on East Lansing is pissed about what happened. Every person knows that Joey Hauser should have switched the screen, got a hand up. Every person knows that will never happen again, where Iowa will go 6 of 7 from 3 in crunch time.
Yeah, no, there's just. I mean, you guys were up what? How much with?
We're up 13 with minute 27 left.
You guys the only points you guys scored in that last minute 30 were free throws.
And we went 10 of 11 from free throw.
And you guys didn't make any other shots, but you were getting fouled every.
Yeah, we were getting fouled every time. But like, so we had made one bad play and missed a free throw.
Yeah,
you allowed one offensive rebound, and you didn't contest 1 3. Everything else, you contested every other 3. You hit every other free throw. Like, what can you do? And so I think
it's crazy because Iowa can flip the switch that quick. And I think really can.
But when they're not at home, I don't think they can. And they haven't really all year, except the IU game. The IU game was a fluke, I think. I think the IU game was like.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that win against Michigan State, obviously coming back the way they did and getting the win the way they did, I think that was just like a spark. Yeah. That gave them that confidence, and Indiana probably was just sitting there, hands behind their back, like, all right, whatever, we're probably going to win this game and win it by 10. They got lucky and just beat Michigan State on their home floor when they were down 13 with a minute to go. And Iowa came out swinging and punched them right in the jaw and knocked them out with one.
So do you think that spark's gone?
I think it is, personally.
Because they just lost to Nebraska.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're losing at Nebraska. You're losing at home.
Yeah, you're at home on your senior day to Nebraska. So I think the Iowa spark's gone. I think they'll win whoever they play, though. Like I said, if they play Ohio State or Wisconsin, I think they'll win that game. But they're going to get to Michigan State. I just don't see them beating Michigan State. I really don't.
No,
This is Izzo's month. Izzo owns this month.
Yeah.
This is his month. I don't see him not getting to the Saturday games.
I would agree, and I also hope that you're right as a Michigan State fan. But we'll go ahead and move down. So we will say it is Penn State or Illinois against Northwestern and the elite guards that Northwestern has here. How do you think this game goes?
Okay, so I had picked Penn State to win. So I think Penn State will actually get another upset and beat Northwestern. They just went on the road and won at Northwestern 1-1 it was a crazy shot, an even better game. I mean, that game was fantastic. Went to OT. Penn State hits a great shot in the corner to win it. I think Penn State could go on and not only beat Illinois, go on and beat Northwestern, have back-to-back upsets, and just help their seeding in the NCAA tournament.
When you have somebody as good as Jalen Pickett on both ends of the floor, it is dangerous, but Northwestern has somebody that is just as good as Jalen Pickett on the defensive end of the floor in Chase Audige, the co-Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. And then they also have one of the greatest names in college basketball history, Bowie.
Dude's fantastic on the offensive end. He's just crazy.
I still remember that game they played against Illinois. What was it? Week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, when he literally had.
Didn't he have more points at half than the whole Illinois team?
I'm pretty sure.
And
the game ended up being close, and he had I think he finished with 37 or something.
He had 24 at half, I think, and they only had 19, or they only had 17 because it was 34 to 19 or something at half, and he had 24 of their 34. He outscored the whole team.
Yeah, Boo is very good, and so is.
He did it in a dominant way too. It wasn't like he was just sitting back and drilling threes. No, he was driving to the bucket. It was a man's game bucket every time he made it. He was getting to the line. He was doing everything. Yeah, and it was just a fantastic showing of basketball.
Yeah, it was. So that's going to be a really interesting matchup, especially if we do get Penn State and Northwestern, because that's probably I might be going out on a limb here. That might be the two best guards in the Big Ten between Boo Buie and Jalen Pickett. Jalen Pickett is the best guard of the Big Ten.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
I don't think I can give that to anybody else. The second best to anybody other than Boo Buie. I don't know if he was first team All Big Ten.
I don't know if he was or not. It's actually a good question.
I can look it up. Jalen Pickett for sure was.
But no, I definitely agree. That's going to be a matchup between the two best guards in the Big Ten, and it's really going to come down kind of like how the last game was. Who was going to be better on the defensive end and who was going to get that one stop? to get them that game-winning shot. I think this might be exactly like the last game, where it's going to end up being a game where the winner wins by no more than like 5.
Yeah. So Terrence Shannon Jr. was first team All Big Ten, by the way.
He missed like 4 or 5 games too.
Now,
still averaged like 17, I think, though.
Now
he was
this
still
is
really
as selected
solid.
by Big Ten coaches.
Oh,
Player of the year is Edey. Defensive player of the years are Adij and McConnell. Freshman of the year is Hood-Schifino.
Great pick right there. He was fantastic.
Sixth man of the year is Sanford for Iowa. Coach of the year is Collins for Northwestern. Assistant coach of the year is Lowry for Northwestern.
How do you even name an assistant coach as assistant coach of the year?
It's probably I would be willing to bet that like 95% of the time it's just the assistant coach to whoever gets the head coach of the year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Terrence Shannon Jr. This is first team.
Okay.
Shannon Jr., Trace Jackson Davis, Chris Murray, Jalen Pickett, Zach Edey.
I'd say it's very, very well deserving.
I think Terrence Shannon Jr. I would take. So second team you have both Northwestern guards, Boo Buie and Chase Aldige.
Okay.
You have Derek Walker from Nebraska. You have Tyson Walker from Michigan State. You have Dickinson from Michigan, and you have Jameer Young from Maryland.
See, like they put 6 on the second team, but why wouldn't they put 6 on the first?
Or and
you know what I mean?
Include Boo Buie.
Yeah, because like if you look at it, not to circle all the way back to the Pac-12, but their first team had like 9 guys on it.
Yeah, which is stupid.
Yeah,
like 9 is excessive.
Yeah, like if you're going 5 or 6, I get it because you're gonna have 2 guys that probably are both deserving, and I think in that instance it was, and it's kind of a punch in the gut to Boo Buie that he was the one that got put on the second team.
Absolutely. So for then you have third team, you have Mayer, Hood-Schifino, Kobe Buffkin, Jet Howard, and then Cliff Omurie. Your all defensive team, you have Trace Jackson Davis, Aldige, Zach Edey, McConnell, and then Omurie as well. So Rutgers with 2 guys on the all defensive team there, and that was as voted by Big Ten coaches. There's a couple other teams because it's weird. They come out with like 3 of them. It's like as voted by coaches, and then it's like as voted by somebody else. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I mean that was off on a tangent there. I would still agree that I would take Boo Buie over Terrence Shannon Jr.
Yeah, no, I think I would too. You know, Terrence Shannon Jr. is a good player, but he's not
Boo Buie.
He's not Boo Buie. He's not a ball handler. He can't create his own shot. He can't hit an open shot. He's more of just a guy who drives downhill and he's going to get to the bucket and he's going to get an and one. Or he's going to get a dunk.
Yep. So I would say that all of that just so I can make the point that matchup would have the 2 best guards in the Big Ten.
Yeah, that game's probably going to be a toss-up. I really don't know who. I mean, I really could go either way on who's going to win that game.
I think Penn State against Illinois is a toss-up. Penn State, the winner of that game against
Northwestern is probably a toss-up as well.
Now Maryland against Nebraska, I do not think would be a toss-up, but I could see Nebraska getting this victory here.
You never know because Maryland, when they aren't playing at home in College Park, is probably one of the worst teams in college basketball. Mm-hmm. They don't win on the road at all. They are probably worse than Iowa.
There are a lot of teams in this Big Ten that their road record is pathetic. If you look at IU on the road is miserable. Iowa on the road is miserable. Maryland on the road is miserable. Like, they're just not good. So when you have a neutral site, how do you respond to that? Like, it's gonna be interesting to see because 2 of those 3 teams are on the bottom there, and they could play each other. If Maryland wins, you're gonna see a Maryland IU in which both teams play terrible on the road. So it's gonna be an interesting just something to monitor though, in how teams do in that neutral site throughout that. Are you pulling up Maryland's road record right now?
Yeah, if you look at it right now, so at home they're 16-1, on the road they're 2-9, and in neutral site games they're 2-1.
Okay.
So they're 4-10 in away games.
Jeez.
They can't win unless they're at home. 20 of their 16 wins are at home.
That's insane.
That's a bit alarming.
They're 20.
Yeah, 16 of their 20 are at home.
That's crazy.
And that's so insane to think about.
So do you think Maryland or Nebraska here? Have to choose one here. Who do you take?
If I had to choose, I'm going to have to go with Maryland. I just think Maryland's an overall better team. They obviously struggle on the road, but I think they'll be good enough to get the win here. But then when they get to Indiana, I think that's a different story.
I think I'm gonna go with Nebraska here. I'm gonna go with an upset. And then I think that Nebraska gets ran through by Indiana.
Yeah, I think we both can agree that Indiana's most likely winning that game no matter
So
what.
so then we go to the top here. We have according to our predictions, we have a Michigan State Michigan rivalry game in the semis, and then we would have either a Penn State or Northwestern against IU in the semis, the one on the bottom here. And again, we'll flash the bracket up on the screen like right around now to you guys can see that what we're talking about. So if Michigan, we can both agree Michigan State's going to be there, right?
Yes.
So if Michigan State plays Michigan, how do you see this game going? If Michigan State plays Purdue, how would you see this game going?
Okay, so if I'm Michigan State and I'm Tom Izzo, I'm hoping that I get to this game on Saturday, but I'm hoping I see Purdue. I personally am hoping I'm seeing Purdue, even though they got Zach Edey, and you guys aren't necessarily the biggest team. I would still much rather play Purdue than playing Michigan. Michigan, I feel like, has a lot more athletic team. Hunter Dickinson, I feel like, is a bit of a harder matchup in a way.
Yeah.
But Michigan State, your guard play is so much better than Purdue's.
Yeah.
And like you said, so much more experienced. I think that Michigan State would win if they played Purdue. But if they played Michigan, I think it'd be more of a toss-up. But I still think Michigan State would win even if they played either.
Okay.
So I have Michigan State going to the championship game.
Okay. I'm not going to even speak on the matter because obviously I would pick them.
Who would you rather play then?
See,
if you had to pick.
I don't know because the last time that we played Purdue was several weeks ago.
Yeah.
And when we played Purdue, they were hot. Mm-hmm. Very hot.
Yeah.
And Edey he tore us up both times. But since then, they've really struggled. Like since then, they've had a streak this last couple weeks where they've really struggled, and Edey has struggled.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. I also want revenge on Michigan because we beat them at home, and they beat us at home.
Yeah.
And when we lost to them, we maybe should have won that game.
Yeah, I know that was a very close game.
Very close game, and it was also 4 or 5 days after the shooting.
Yeah.
So I mean, that entire atmosphere of Michigan, Tom Izzo spoke after the game and said tonight was not about winning. Tonight was about like us unifying or coming together and uniting as people.
Yeah.
And it's well, obviously tonight was about winning, right? You're not coming out there to not win,
mm-hmm.
but there's so much going on at that time that maybe you have a couple guys whose heads aren't there. And Michigan State recently has been playing wonderful.
Yeah, no, you guys have been playing really good basketball. I don't know. I guess the way I look at it is would you rather catch a number one team who relies on a center who's 7'4", coasting it on fumes, or would you rather play a team who's an 8 seed who needs as many wins as they can get to get themselves on the right side of the bubble, who has lightning in a bottle right now?
Yep,
that's the way I look at it.
See, and here's what I'm looking at: is Michigan State is, their top 3 team in 3-point percentage in the year. And I bet if you look,
and it's as of late, you guys have been shooting the lights out of the ball as of late.
I bet if you look since February 1st, we're number 1 by far.
Oh yeah, there has to be.
It is insane. And when you look at Edey, he obviously cannot defend the perimeter at all.
Not at all.
Right. So if you run a set with lineup with Hauser as your 5.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Put Hauser as the 5.
Defensively, you're going to have to really double, right? But you can have Malik Hall on the floor who can double.
Yep.
And if you go 5 out, Hauser
he has to come out
and guard, and Hauser will burn him to the rim, and Edey will pick up, blocking fouls, trying to defend him. He'll pick up reach-in fouls. Hauser will snatch him. And Hauser's not that athletic, but compared to Edey, that's like LeBron compared to me.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's a mismatch, and it's an obvious one.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of torn between the two. I'm focused on beating Iowa. Whoever we play.
Yeah,
exactly. I think for both teams, there's bad things and there's good things. We can play Purdue. They have terrible guards. They're not playing great as of late. We can play Michigan. We have a little bit of a revenge factor there. Obviously, we hate them.
The rivalry.
Yeah, Izzo's miles of a better coach than
Juwan
Howard.
No doubt. I think he's miles better. I think he's a better coach than Painter.
I think he's definitely a better coach, but I would take Painter over Howard by far.
Yeah.
You're looking at coaching there. I don't know. There's good and bad things in both. But I think we can probably shoot the 3 better against Purdue. So I wouldn't mind playing Purdue. And it's a better win for us too.
Yeah.
I want to win the Big Ten tournament, but I want to.
It's an even better resume booster.
So if you beat Purdue, if you beat Iowa, then you beat Purdue, and then you beat IU, you're gonna be like a 4 seed.
Yeah,
like you should be. I'm trying to think. I mean, right now they're like what, 7?
I think so.
That should move you up 3 seeds.
I think they are something like that. So yeah, so are we comfortable enough of putting Michigan State in the final on Sunday? Are we comfortable to do that?
You're asking me if a bear shits in the woods right now.
Yeah.
But
okay. So we'll put them there. They'll be there. We'll put them there.
I'm putting them there no matter what. If your unbiased opinion is putting them there, then obviously my biased opinion would agree. So
I'll put them there because I think if they get that matchup with Purdue, then I think they'll win that game.
I think one last minute of like fandom here. The way that Michigan State shoots the ball, when you have somebody like Edey who is that bad at defending the perimeter, then you have to help. And if you help, Michigan State will have 5 guys in the court. If Sissoko's not on the court, like if Sissoko or Kohler is on the court, then like they're not going to be able to.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But you see, even one of them's on the court, right? You have 4 guys in the court that are like 36+% from 3 as of late. Hogard, I think, shoots 30%, but as of the last like 5 games, he's been shooting like 40+.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not saying he's 40+% 3-point shooter, but he's
as of late he has been.
And so like, when you have somebody that's that poor at defending the perimeter, and you have a team that's that good at shooting from the perimeter consistently, it's just not the correct recipe for Purdue to thrive in that game.
Yeah. So right now I just pulled up bracketology with 4 days to go till the bracket comes out. That is Michigan State as a 6 right now.
Really? Okay. So who do they have us playing first round?
I'd have you guys playing the winner of a playing game between Mississippi State and Utah State.
Oh, I feel lovely about that. Who's the 3 seed we would play second round?
Marquette. That would be a great game.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be a great game.
Marquette's good, but not that. That's where Joey Hauser came from, right?
Yeah. Both of them, right? And the
other one and Sam, yeah.
But no, I agree. I think.
So who's the 1 seed that?
I think. Oh, you guys got Kansas as your 1 seed.
Oh boy.
But I think you guys are definitely good enough to where if you do beat Purdue, you'll jump up to at least a 4.
Yes.
At least a 4.
You could see if we beat Purdue IU, you could see us making a case for a 3.
Yeah.
Just because of how good you've been as of late. But
100% agree.
Yeah, but okay, so we have Michigan State in the final, and then we have on the bottom side we have Indiana against either Northwestern or Penn State. How do you think that game goes?
I think Indiana will win that game. I think they'll just be too much for either of those teams. I think Trace Jackson Davis will just be an absolute animal on both sides of the ball. And I think Race Thompson will actually step it up. He's been a very good role player, even though he starts. He's basically a role player. Yeah. And in the eyes of most college basketball fans. But I think this will be a game where Race Thompson knows he needs to get the job done, and he gets the job done, puts up like 12, 8, and 4. Like, he does it all. And I think Jalen Hood-Schifino will play a great game as well. And he's kind of their like deciding factor.
He is. I'm going to go against you here. I'm going to take Northwestern. And Chase Aldige against Jalen Hood-Schifino might like tear him apart. Buoy offense. Like, I know we talk about elite guard play. Indiana does not have elite guard play at all.
No.
Hood-Schifino is inconsistent, and if he's playing well, then they have good guard play. If he's playing well. If he's playing well, they still don't even have elite guard play. When Buoy and Chase Aldige play bad, they have good guard play.
Yeah.
So, like, you're looking at a team that needs to play well to be at this level, and you're looking at a team that if they play bad, they're at this level. Like, I feel like Northwestern, as far as guard play, is just so much better than Indiana. Trace Jackson Davis should dominate this game, and he could dominate this game, and they could still lose.
Yeah, no, I definitely could see that's the only problem when you look at it is can Jalen Hood-Schifino and I forget the other guard for Indiana. He just now his first name's Trey. I forget his last name.
Give me a sec.
But if they can somewhat lock down Northwestern's guards, then I think Indiana should be able to win this game. But if they can't, like you said,
Galloway.
Yeah, Trey Galloway. Like if him and Jalen Hood-Schifino can play semi-decent against these two guards, they might have a chance because I don't think Northwestern's big men's remotely close to being as good as Trace Jackson Davis. No. And I think Trace Jackson Davis could go off for 25, but it's going to be how much are Buoy and Aldige going to go off for.
Yeah, absolutely. And how And what does Hood Schifino give you? Because when you're playing the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year and Chase Audi,
exactly. Gotta limit turnovers.
If Hood Schifino's giving you 8 points and 4 turnovers, you're gonna get obliterated.
Yeah, it's just not even gonna be close.
So we will say, so we both obviously I do. We have Michigan State in the final here.
Yes,
against Northwestern or IU. How do you think this game goes if it's Northwestern? How do you think it goes if it's IU?
I think if they play IU, it's gonna be a hard fight. It's gonna be a gritty game, but I think IU comes out with it because I think at that point, if IU gets to the final, they're not gonna get there and just drop it. They played good basketball all throughout the Big Ten tournament. They're gonna get there. I also think it's gonna come down. It's gonna rely on can Sissoko actually battle Trace Jackson Davis down low.
Yeah.
If he can't, then once again it's gonna be a problem. And I think the big thing here is Indiana's gonna guard you. They're not going to give you the open threes. You're going to have to hit some contested threes. Can Michigan State do that and still play consistent basketball?
Right. So I think I'm flip-flopped with you here. If we play Northwestern, I don't think we win. I think the bright spot in our team is our 3-point shooting, right? And how do you create 3-point shooting is guard play. I think that Northwestern has better guards than us.
Yeah.
I think they're the only team in the Big Ten that has better guards than us. I'm trying to think. I mean, I would even take, I understand Penn State has Jalen Pickett, but their secondary guard is definitely not AJ Hogard or Tyson Walker.
No, not at all.
So I think Michigan State is the second best guard play, the second best backcourt in the Big Ten, but you're playing the one team that can neutralize that. I don't think that's a good.
That's a bad match.
And we talked about how Northwestern really doesn't have a big guy that can defend really well. Well, Michigan State doesn't really have a big guy that can score really well. So
not at all. If
Northwestern were to play like Purdue, it would be like, okay, how badly are Purdue's guards going to play, but how badly is Northwestern's bigs going to play? Like, it's a tale of two different stories.
Yeah.
Whereas for when they play Michigan State, it's like Michigan, your weakness is not exposed, your strength is neutralizing our strength.
Yeah.
So I think that it would be it'd be a great matchup, but I think Northwestern would win. If we were to play Indiana, when we played Indiana at home, we dominated them. We went down, I think 15-3 or something in that game, and we came back and thrashed them the rest of the game.
That's the only thing that kind of worries me about Michigan State, because I understand it was the first game back since the tragic shooting. You're playing for a lot there. That's kind of a game where I don't think anybody really saw Michigan State ever losing that game.
No, I know you and I both didn't. We were texting about
it. We were like, there's just no way they lose this game.
Right.
There's no way. They have so much there's so much emotionally on the line. But I don't know. It was just really nerve-wracking because you saw Indiana hop out to that lead. But at the same time, you saw Michigan State battle back. They kept going. But I think that also helped a lot with the crowd. You're at home.
The crowd was elite, but I think also part of it was that Indiana didn't have their crowd. Indiana's crowd is spectacular.
Yeah, no, it's one of the hardest places.
When they're playing somewhere that's not there. Now, this is in Indianapolis, is not?
No, it's in Chicago
this year.
Chicago this year.
So it's in Chicago. So you don't have the Indiana crowd traveling, right? Maybe
not nearly as much as it would.
The Indiana Michigan State crowd would be, if this were to be there, would be
similar.
It'd be similar.
Yeah, it'd be nuts.
And so you don't have your home crowd, and you showed that you spotted Michigan State 12 points, and Michigan State won the game by what?
Came back and won by, I was anywhere from 12 to 16 or something like that.
That was not close. Michigan State won that game by 20 plus after they realized, oh, okay, we're not just talking about, we're not just responding to the tragedy. We have to play basketball today. It was, so that's what I'm that I think Indiana just doesn't match up well with Michigan State, excuse me. But I do think that Northwestern does. I would see Northwestern wins this if they get there. Indiana loses it if they get there. But I mean, we could literally see a final of Penn State. We could see a final of Purdue, Maryland.
Yeah, no, there's so many different
options. Every single thing we just did in this, specifically in the Big Ten, could be thrown away tonight.
Oh yeah, literally talking about how Wisconsin, we never know.
Nebraska could be in the semifinal, because they go beat Maryland and Indiana, right? That's who they play. Indiana. Yeah. So I don't know. There's so much stuff that could happen, but this has been an extremely long episode.
I got a question for you here.
Okay.
If you had to pick in the Big Ten, you had to pick one team from seed 1 to 7 to win it all, who would it be? And if you had to pick a team from 8 to 14, who would it be?
Let me pull this up
for the seeding.
So for 1 to 7, I'm not going to choose Michigan State because that would be my pick. Obviously, I think they're going to win. As a biased fan, I'm going to choose Northwestern.
It's a good pick.
I think we talk about all the time. Guard plays elite.
Yeah.
And so from the 8 to 14, I don't want to be that guy that's just going to go with the 8 seed, but the 8 seed is the best team here by far in Michigan. So I'm going to go with Michigan and Northwestern as my two teams there. Who do you got?
For mine, I'm looking at. I think I'm gonna have to stick with IU. I don't know why. I just have connection to them right now. I'm gonna go IU for my 1 to 7, and for my 8 to 14. This is where I'm flip flop between two teams. I could really see Michigan or Penn State doing it.
Okay. Yeah, Penn State's, well, again, it's exactly what I just said. I'm not even going to say it again, but Penn State has it.
Yeah, no, they're playing good basketball at the right time, and they also have Pickett, who is good enough to take over a whole game and win it.
And who we just said the other day was should be a first team All-American.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay, so, final thing here, because this has been a long episode. Final thing here, let's do this. Choose one team from the Big Ten that you think will make the tournament and be underwhelming. So a team that will get upset, and then a team from the Big Ten that you think will exceed expectations in March Madness.
Okay. So I think a team that's going to be a bust or very underwhelming is, staring me right in the face. It's Purdue.
Yep.
Okay. I think that's kind of an obvious one. You really don't know with Purdue because they're so up and down. They rely on a 7'4" big man, and that's like playing basketball back in like the 80s, 70s, 80s. That's not the basketball we play anymore. They're inexperienced. They rely on one guy, and as of late, it does not help them out because they've been able to crash down on this guy. He hasn't been shooting well, and he's been having way too many turnovers.
Yep.
For my team that I think is going to excel expectations in the tournament, I think I'm going to have to go with Illinois.
Okay. I
think if they get the right seeding and the right line to the Final Four, I'm not saying they could get to the Final Four, but I think they can win. I think they can win two games. I think they can get to the Sweet 16.
I'm going to agree with you on Purdue. That's going to basically be underwhelming. For a team that's going to exceed the expectations, I'm going to stick with the same team I've been talking about all day, Northwestern.
Yeah.
Aldige and Boo Buie are the perfect combination of guards that you'd need in March Madness, and I would not want to play against them. And I also think that from like a casual basketball fan that's not like a Northwestern fan, obviously, if you were to say, name me the 3 best teams in the Big Ten this year, people would not say Northwestern.
No.
They would not.
A casual fan would not. You know what a casual fan would say? They'd say, oh, well, Purdue, Indiana, and I feel like they'd probably still say Michigan, which is kind of crazy, but that's just a casual fan would definitely say something like that.
And so I think that Northwestern is a team that is probably going to be picked to be upset in a lot of brackets. They're not going to get upset. This team will only lose to a seed, whatever seed Northwestern is, which, do you know what they are predicted to be right now?
I want to say they're 5.
They will not lose to a seed worse than them.
The only thing that could scare me though is with these 5 seeds they have projected right now are really scary. I was looking at it last night. They have Drake, who's been playing great basketball. Charleston, who's 31-3. Who's the other one? The other one, I know they already won their tournament.
Oh, you're talking 13 seeds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oral Roberts with Max Asmus and the humongous dude who transferred from Arkansas. He's like 6 seeds. I think he's 7'3", 7'4".
Yeah.
And then the winner of the 8-10 right now, which would be Dayton or VCU.
Yeah.
Those are very scary 12, 13 seeds.
Yeah, I feel very good about Northwestern because of how good their guard play is. I mean, like Max Asmus would really struggle against.
That'd be a great match between him and Boo Buie.
It would be.
That'd be an insane matchup.
But defensively, I think Chase Aldige might be able to shut him down because Asmus is so small. But I don't know. This has been hectic. So we have a ton more coming early next week. As soon as bracketology hits, as soon as Selection Sunday is done, we might record one Sunday night.
Yeah,
it'll be
100%.
virtual. So because we won't be together, so it'll be virtual. But like Monday, we'll probably drop an episode. Tuesday, we'll probably drop an episode.
We'll still be bringing the heat.
It'll be
for sure.
Yeah, it'll be a ton of stuff coming early next week. So this is just the best time of the year. The next 3 days are wonderful. The next week and a half, well, you go the best 3 days, the hardest 3 days, and then the best 4 days.
I want to give a few shout outs here real fast before we end it here. Just want to give a shout out to the teams that have already punched their tickets to the NCAA tournament. We'll start off with Fairleigh Dickinson. Congratulations. They honestly don't deserve to be here. They lost to Merrimack, but the NCAA has that stupid rule where if you transition to Division I into a different conference, you have to sit out 3 years or something.
Yeah, which is
stupid like
that. Can be.
Congratulations to Southeast Missouri State, the Red Hawks. Congrats to UNC Asheville, Drake, Kennesaw State for the first time ever.
Yes, huge shout out to
Louisiana Raging Cajuns for the first time in 9 years. Furman for the first time since 1980. Horizon League winner and NKU. Charleston Cougars. Watch out for them. 31-3.
Charleston's a dangerous team.
They can be very dangerous because you know what and literally yesterday they went down as much as 7, but they shoot the 3 ball so well. They brought themselves back like that. Congrats to the Zags. They won last night. It's like
screw the Zags.
It was like they won a regular game last night. They didn't even celebrate or anything. They literally just got in the handshake line. I was like, okay, well, that's just dumb. Congrats to Oral Roberts. And then that's it. And then we got more coming tonight and the rest of the week.
Yes, sir. We do have a lot more coming. So I think that is all for today, though. If you're still sticking around after this hour and a half episode, thank you for watching. This has been the Sports Geeks Podcast. They play, we talk. Thanks, guys.